About this time each Wednesday of a week, we all sit tight, whether you are on this side of the divide or on the other side of the divide. We all sit tight to listen to topical issues and, of course, find out ways to ensure that we all get better. The whole essence is to ensure that we are conscious of ourselves, be it spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever it is. Today we'll be touching base with one of those very topical issues, especially around now. It is personal security. Mind you, I didn't say security within Nigeria, security within maybe big places, office. Your own personal security means your efforts, my efforts to ensure that we are safe. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the dangers we get involved in can be averted if we pay attention to ourselves and our environment. Maslow, sometime in his hierarchy of need, actually placed that almost at the rock bottom of the need, the pyramid. It's actually the second one. It says safety. Safety, some diagrams will actually have things written there, home sweet home, meaning that you must ensure that you're safe from your base. That's the family, the very smallest unit of the society. Let me not empty myself. We'll get to talk about this and other things around. And I know that we have a security expert here seated with us, Kevin.
Fine face.
Yes.
It's a pleasure getting to meet you. And good morning, ladies. And Barikade Salah. That is the meet.
Kevin, look where there's a meat here. We chopped it. It's invincible. Yeah. Okay. No, but there's meat here now. It's chopped. So can you see it? So we know that some people
nice props.
Yeah. It's not props. It's edible. Coach Didi. You want to have a bit of my meat?
Yes.
Okay.
I love almonds.
We don't do props here. So, all right. So we'll quickly take a break. When we come in, we'll be, hitting the topic right away. Sit down, because I'm sure all of us, including me, will be learning a whole lot about how to protect ourselves. Stay.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start off the conversation from something on the TV and say,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
I think she wants to ask something. No, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me. Remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world."
Okay, while that break was going on, I was actually trying to look at some of the, major headlines in the papers today, and it will amaze you. More than 70% of what I see They're all around security, jailbreak, armed robbery, rape, all of that. They're all centered around security, and that is what is happening every day. Sometimes I ask myself, why? Are we getting more of it? It looks like sometimes I wish, I don't know about you, I wish we can go back to, is it Stone Age or Dark Age, where we're free to move around? Because did you ever play outside?
Of course.
When you were growing up?
Of course.
Your children, can they go outside?
No.
It's awful. It's awful. And I keep asking myself, how did we get to this point? Where the insecurity, is there anything we're doing, personally? I don't know. Maybe Kevin can tell us a bit.
Well, security is subject to conditions in any given environment. Because when we say a place is secure, it means there are concentric measures put in place to either in a bid to protect, to prevent, and also some ways to preserve. When you have failure of leadership at the ends of governance, it trickles down to so many factors that can contribute to insecurity. One of such is that when the people are not gainfully employed and productively engaged, the tendency for such people to begin to find ways to be active comes in, and in most cases the human mind is desperately evil. It allows itself to begin to think of ways to undermine situations. When a society is seen as a state of nature, you'll find life becomes very brutish and short. What happens? People begin to learn to survive, and in survivor there's no morality that comes with survivor. It's taking out the weakest amongst the group to keep yourself stronger and to be alive running. So if the people have good leadership, they to trickle down to having more industries being up there, people gainfully employed, the education system is good, it means that capacity will be built towards opportunities that will be coming up. And the ones that happens, the people are productively engaged, they have less time to think of how to undermine the system. I'd like to give an example. Norway has a prison system that is open. There's no fence. Once you are sent to the prison, you live like you're living in a normal home, but you're far off from the people. You go learn skills, do other things, and say they can reintegrate you back into the society as a productive individual. Why are they doing that? And they have less crime. It's the only country that have less of crime. Holland today is having more empty prisons, so to speak. Why? Because they now realize how to be able to do the right things and necessary to be done. So that is part of the reason. Then secondly, you also have this tendency for people to want to the need for competitive advantage. So because when we're growing up, we play outside, we stay till late.
Yeah.
In fact, they used to call us legion. When you go out for an errand, you end up doing other things, coming back really late without even going for what you, for something you lose the money you actually went for. But these days, not possible, because we have seen that politics have actually destroyed what is supposed to be in the society. How? Those who are not qualified to be in positions of authority, one of the first things they do is to destroy structures. Now you have a people that you're paying so much money to, that goes to the same market that every other person goes to, and they come off gloat with the resources that the money that people are paying to them, the public funds, and they come to act big men and big women in the society. Guess what? When you don't value those who do menial jobs, when you don't value those who take care of the things you're supposed to be taking care of, that you think they are lesser jobs, you make them to begin to think of how to be what you are. So those farmers in the village, those fishermen in the villages, those people who were always comfortable staying in the villages and no longer staying in the villages, they all come to the town. Then coming to the town, we have limited resources, limited infrastructure in town. So what happens is that we're all clamoring for one small space, and so because the funnel is big but the path of the funnel is very narrow, so it results into people doing things that they can survive just any means necessary, and that is because of failure of leadership. So if we begin to change those our remuneration system and our reward system, I think it will actually begin to bring back those good old days.
You may have you do have a point there, except that I'll beg to differ a little bit. Growing up, we all played, like you said, came back late and all of that, but now we are restricting even ourselves, our children. Recently FCT says no more parks, by 7 p.m. A lot of people are protesting. Some other angles are like, okay, thank God, at least my husband can come home early and all of that. But the thing is, you're laughing. The thing is, no matter how much someone is hungry, no matter how much someone is unproductive, except somebody who is debased, that person may not be tempted to steal.
I agree with you to the point.
true.
To the
That
point
person will not be
of
tempted
upbringing, right?
Yes.
To the point of upbringing. But here's the thing: when you continually see your parents go through what they go through, and you live in a society that oftentimes shows this thing in your eyes, wealth, ill-gotten wealth being shown, people are not punished for their crimes, people are not accountable for responsibility given to them. What happens over time, you start thinking of how to bend the wheel to get your way through, so that you take away the shame that has come to your own family. Now, I had a big upbringing.
The shame you're talking about, for me, I think is when the shame is not, I think shame should be done when someone is wrong. I remember growing up, when somebody says, you like to dance. I love dancing, and I still do, and I can dance anywhere. Don't worry.
Okay, so
those days, I could go to market and music is playing, and I forget I'm in the market and I dance, and people get looking. At the end of the day, some people will say, are you not ashamed? I say, did I commit crime? I mean, you're only ashamed of things that are wrong.
Not necessarily.
For me, that could be shy. That could be on the shy side, but not shame. So if my parents are poor and they have integrity, I am not ashamed of them.
No, you don't get the context of what I'm actually saying. What I mean is that if you're continually being disgraced, embarrassed
because of being poor,
and because of being poor, what do we see happening in some parts of the country? We see people who ordinarily before can just go begging, right, and live with that begging, but suddenly are no longer begging, but they are coming to grab what you have. If you drive on the street of Abuja and your windows are down, your doors are not locked, chances are you're going to lose your valuables on the street of Abuja. If you're driving, once you get to a stop, it happens. Why are we having such level of prevalence of this crime, from petty to major crimes? It is simply because of the way politicians gloat their wealth. That's one.
That could be one of
that's
them.
That's one aspect. Then there's also breakdown of family values.
Absolutely.
Which is as a result of people who do not really know who they are. We have people who are raising families that don't have any business raising families. We have people who just get babies just anyhow and don't even know how to manage to take care of these babies and allow them to be on the street, to learn to survive on the street. If you go around the city of Abuja, you see little kids, teenage boys and teenage girls, mostly teenage boys on the street that are from the IDPs. Nobody is fathering, nobody's taking care of, so they're all survivalists. Tell me, when such kids, those teenagers, get to become adults, what kind of mentality, what lifestyle would they live? How would they have value for life? And how would they respect individual? What moral basis would they going to guide their lives? Nothing, because they were on the streets, and so they will do things to survive, and they will do things that will undermine the human peace.
All right, so you were going to say something, Coach Didi?
Well, I would just talk about my own take on personal security. I think it's just about me as a person, being intentional and deliberate about my well-being. And now me stands not just for me, but for my family as well. And I think this is a mistake we make a lot of times. Your well-being affects those around you, and those around you affect your well-being.
Thank you.
So it's also about being vigilant. People around you, your neighbors, people who hang around your street or your door or your gate, because most people are not conscious of their surroundings. You see a strange face lurking around your gate, you should worry. Send somebody. Okay, who's there? Who are you looking for? And then your own family, the people who work for you, are you nice to them? You see, the people who work for us are the closest to us. And I see people who make the mistake of being very mean to their help, very mean to their drivers, very mean to their gate man. How do you expect that person to actually have your interest? So your personal security actually gets to them too as well. If you want to be secure as a person, be nice and kind to people around you, and then your own family members.
Definitely.
Teach them security tips when they are going out. One of the most important things, tips about security is tell someone where you're going. We downplay this a lot.
Yeah,
and tell someone where you're
relationship, oftentimes things as monitoring. It's not monitoring.
It's not monitoring.
Because if something happens to you, somebody can know where to look.
Even if you take boats or
those rides,
like, for me, once I get into those vehicles, I engage the driver, and while I'm engaging him, I'm also making a video call to someone I know that is responsible. It could be my husband, it could be my children, it could be someone I know that can easily, catch up immediately in case anything happens. Why I do that is, number one, the driver, if he is not a die-hard criminal, whatever I have done with him in there can deter him if he had a thought. And then if he's a die-hard criminal and he still goes ahead, I have shared my ETA and I'm making a video call. It's easy to have rescue, sent to you. But I know that a lot of young people, especially young people, if you ask him to share some of these things, they tell you, Mom, what's your problem? I'm a big girl. It's not a question of big girl. It's actually a question of telling somebody, I need you to look after me, even though I'm big. I have respect for you, even though I'm big.
There's a reason why it's so. Because as a nation, we don't really have, a comprehensive, coherent national security strategy that is deployed to the schools, from nursery to the understanding how they see the pictures, to the kindergarten, to the primary, to secondary, to tertiary education. We don't have that in place. Growing up, we know that we have some safety tips that were given. Before you cross the road, you know what to do. Look left, look right, and then left again, right? You know what zebra crossing means. Road safety tips were given to us in order to manage the road. We're not given household security tips on how to manage ourselves. So when our kids get mature, they begin to think that we're monitoring them because we don't want to allow them to become adults in the context of how they want to be seen. And that's because we have not educated them very well to understand the importance of what that responsibility is required of from them. Let us begin to demand that as a national security strategy, the government put in place those strategies, those policies, framework that they've been talking about, up level there to the understanding of the common man on the street.
The civic education.
And let's begin to have clubs in the schools, primary, secondary schools on security. So that they can, that consciousness will be awakened in the minds of the people. Then the people also get to know what they can look out for. Now, there's another aspect of security we also oftentimes ignore from different phases. Our intuitive ability to understand when things are going to go wrong, what's going to go right, or to suspect people that we need to suspect. Where I'm coming from, I was taught to understand that everybody you suspect, only God you trust, because you can't see him, but every man can always disappoint you or get to be something. So once I see that, what I first look out for, what is my safety parameters and how secure am I in this environment? I was stabbed to death on the street of Abuja a few years back. 4 places, just around some.
They stabbed you to death and you're still alive.
Yeah, I'm stabbed to death, but which I didn't die. So at the end of the day, 4 places on Amabushi just by the flyover at 9 p.m. and nobody could stop to help a dying man because they were also scared of what the repercussion would be. Emergency preparedness and situation in the country is very poor. You take a gunshot victim or victim of any insecurity or whatever to the hospital, you are hardly given emergency treatment because first they don't know if the police will come and deal with them. So there's a need for citizens engagement to build back trust and to get people to understand what they should look out for, so that those who are responsible in maintaining law and order, we know how to go about it. If we begin to do that, I think we'll be able to achieve so much in terms of personal security. Then it will boil down to national security and get more people engaged. Once you get to the store, some stores, they follow you up. Not because they think you're going to steal, but that engagement helps to reduce shoplifting.
Yeah, true.
Some point, and at the same time gives you some form of class service, because we like that thing.
The second one.
You talked about the kids. This is something I do. Most times about monitoring the kids. Yes, they feel they're adults, and I have 2 teenage boys, so I understand what it is. And of course, mothering them is something we do all the time. But I realize that the easiest way to teach people to communicate is not by telling them, but by showing. And what I do is, I hope my kids are not watching this, I come up with a story. Do you know so person? We don't know them. I don't know them as well, but the estate next to us, the child is missing. Really? But I have friends in that estate. They're beginning to connect.
Yes.
Yeah, I said I have friends in that estate as well. There's a boy missing. So what happened to him? He's about your age. I think they said he's about 16, 18. Really? What happened? I said, I really don't know, but I'm going to ask more. Then I'll come back from work like that. I say, the boy has been found. And I'll go sad. And I said, what did he? He's dead. Oh. He's dead? Yeah, he's dead. He told his mom he was going to Kubwa. He was going to Wuse. He lied to her, and he actually went to maybe Utako or Kubwa, and then there was an accident. He was with his friends. They met online. and he went to meet them. They were playing game, and then they were playing with their father's gun or something, and something went wrong, and he was shot, and they were scared. They didn't know what to do, and they buried him.
Oh,
Really? And you get the message. He
So
left
that
home.
happened.
He didn't tell his parents where he was going. They didn't know where to look. So
You got the
when
message.
they couldn't find him because he said he was going to so place, they went to look there. They didn't go to the place he went because he lied.
yes.
And I said he met them online. These are ways you tell kids. You actually tell them what not to do. Hopefully they listen. I hope, you know.
And then
Yeah,
the
they
other
do.
one,
Telling
the
them
other one
stories.
again is like you said, you do that. I always make sure my children, like I always say, are my friends, very good friends. So wherever I go to, I will tell them I'm going to meet A, B, C, D. You know, even if I'm at work, I hardly leave office when I come to work anyway. But if I have to leave to go do something outside here, I'm texting on the group. I'm going to the bank. I'm going to this place. So they know where I'm going to at a particular point for my own safety. Again, it also teaches them if mommy who is, you know,
An
in
adult,
charge,
yeah, in charge, can
so
do
to
that.
speak, can do that. So me too can do it. So it can't possibly. I always say I do it for you. So why won't you do it for me?
Leading by example.
Example.
That's a simple, because kids are like sponges.
Yeah.
And so what they see us do is what they do, not what we say. When we keep telling them where we're going to,
Yeah.
being accountable to them,
Yes.
it gives them a sense of responsibility to reciprocate such acts of gesture that we've actually given, which we miss as parents, because we oftentimes think, I'm the father, I'm the mother. This thing,
yeah.
you know, ubuga every now and then, kind of. So we have to change that mentality and see that our kids are like our friends, you know, that we relate with. Yes, at the limit of some things you can say, some things you can't say, but the things that bother us on general security and the well-being of the child or of the family is something that we must always discuss. Good neighborliness is one key factor that she mentioned. You know, there are people who live around my neighborhood who do many jobs, and those who stay behind some of those batches. So one of the things I do from time to time, I reach out to them. In fact, I pay school fees. I give scholarship to one or two kids in that environment, not because I have so much money to give, but because I also need to be able to have a symbiotic relationship
I'm
to
trying to
secure
send you
my back.
I'm trying to send you my child's school fees
You know,
account, so you can.
so I do that. I see kids who are okay and supposed to be in school. I get to find out, you know, why and intervene. You know, for such a thing. The reason is that I'm paying forward, and I'm also building up that system of buffers. Because if we don't do that and we think we're better off, we're okay. See, those you ignore oftentimes becomes the first set of people who get undermine you because they don't like your states of height that you've created, and you're not gloating on them. You make them feel bad. Sometimes you're driving, you splash on them, you trash us, you know, on them. So what they simply do, the day you get into trouble or something is coming, they point your place as a likely target. But once you start building up this relationship, you build a buffer. If anybody say no, you say, I tell you something that happened during this xenophobic retaliation in Nigeria. There was this uprising, you know, at along the airport road by ShopRite. People were going, shoplifting, all of those things and destroying things. Now we couldn't drive past. I was calling my kids from the airport, and they just hit on the vehicle with this metal rod, and like, bah, you're going. I said, yeah, Korea, you know, because I mean they're all mostly of those extraction. And as I was saying that, he said, give me money. Right? And immediately I got money and gave to him. The person I gave money to was the person who started leading me out of that quagmire. That was what saved us. If I didn't add any money within that circumference, guess what would have happened? He would have been able to even make sure that the vehicle is destroyed, things are destroyed, to vent out their anger, which was actually misdirected. So we need to understand the simple gestures that we need to do. That's basically security team. Then let's see also that the government on the part take certain kind of responsibility and ensure that they employ and recruit the right people into those positions that man our security agencies. Because you can't get people. Today we have people who have infiltrated the security agencies from Boko Haram, from criminal gangs, from all of those things. We've seen them being infiltrated because the politicians who lack the understanding are giving these people as their candidates because of political interest. If you want to get, if there's any employment in DSS, police, the politicians have their candidates first, from the president down to the last person. After they have filled the position before the general public is given opportunity. Wrong. We should make it based on professional standing. Let it be on merit so that people are employed to those places. Then employers too should also do things. Learn to vet your staff before you employ them. Relationships. Now that they are, we have this prison break, there are many people who come out from the prisons and be professing love to, unsuspecting victims. So don't just say, is a nice man or is a nice person, try to find out, ask questions of background.
Yeah, background check.
Where is it from? If you say it doesn't have any family members, is an orphan or she's an orphan, no. There must be relationships. If there's no relationship, please be careful. Let there be circumspect in how we get involved in relationship. Not because of emotional needs, you get so like cuckoos and begin to have so many other problems. Without
A few days ago, I think two days ago, my son, it was in the evening, and he told me he's 17, and he told me that, Didi, I'm afraid to go out in the evening. This place used to tell me, and I always insist that, and as Muslims, we follow the sunnah of the Prophet, and the sunnah is you should be at home by Maghrib, that's by 7. So I'm very emphatic about that, and I try to live by example. You should be home by 6 p.m. That's it. Not later than that. So once in a while he tells me that it's not so far from us, there is a suya joint. He goes to buy suya, and me and meat now. So I say, okay, go and buy it so that we can all eat it together, So 2 days ago,
you buy the suya and audit it together.
He will go and buy the suya.
Then you audit.
No,
We all eat it together now.
Oh, okay.
With a nice cup of tea. So the other day he told me that he doesn't want to go out anymore. I said, why? He said, there's this prison break. I said, God, I thank you. Because I didn't even know he was conscious of things like that. He said there are so many criminals around the place. I said yes. He said I have to be extra careful. I said yes.
Now you mentioned this thing, it's important to expose our children, to current affairs. We all sit together. There are things I call rituals in the house. One of them is having your morning prayers together. You read Bible instructions. If you're Muslim, the Quran, and everybody gets to explain their own perspective to it. You could pass information through that. Then I recall to growing up days, 7 o'clock news, NTA, 9 o'clock news. My parents would make sure that we all sit down together. And it was NTA, really. And of course, it must be NTA. So everybody sits together and you watch the news. It was important because sometimes children may not get the gist of what is happening around unless you make them to. So I try to maintain the same culture, even if it's just maybe 9 o'clock, the first 20 minutes, before the first break, then you can go to bed. I don't mind. So, but let's get this together so they know what is happening, because your son knows what's up. That's why he's able to, protect himself somewhat in his brain. But speaking of that, it's important again, if we go extra mile on this platform to talk about it, because they've been picked, from here. There's Suleja, there's Nasarawa, there's Abuja area 1 here. So that means such people are everywhere. So it's important. Someone was telling me of an incident, an old schoolmate, they hooked up. Suddenly, somebody sent a message, say, add this person to this group chat. They added that person. And with time, they found out this person was deported from a certain country for criminal offense and all of that. Wow. So these things can happen. It's important we speak to ourselves, speak to our children. You meet a friend. A girl was telling me that a friend of hers, after they left secondary school, both of them are done with university. The girl said, it's nice to see you again, blah, blah, blah. When are you inviting me to your house? And the girl said, what's wrong with your own house? So, and I asked the girl later, what happened? She said, I don't understand. We haven't seen for a long time. This is like 8 years. And then you're not asking me to come to your house. You want to come to my own house. Do you live on the street? Even if you live on the street, invite me first, then I'll reciprocate. So we should be careful with the people we invite in our homes. The good thing about today's world is that there are a lot of places you can meet. Somebody asked me some time ago, I want to come visit you. I haven't seen this person for like 2-3 years. I said, okay, I'm in the office on Monday. Come from 2 p.m. He said, why not your place? I said, are you mad? Come to my office. He said, no, okay, Tuesday, call. I said, I'll still be at work. Wednesday, call. I'll still be at work. Anyway, come at any time. Eventually, this person didn't come. And I tried to probe myself. I didn't ask him. I said, this person may have had ulterior motive for wanting to come. Do you understand? Because I asked you to come to the office. You refused to come. But when you wanted to come to the house, is it not the same me you wanted to see? That is both in the house and in the office. The basic thing, you've seen me. So we should be careful with who we invite to our places, because if we don't take time, they always say the people that will kill you are those who know you well.
Yeah, it is the house that will always bring in the mice outside, to come feast. Intention determines platforms. What someone thinks of carrying out to do will determine the place they go to. What is the government doing in terms of this, in quote, data mining we're doing? I saw, publications of number of persons that escaped the prisons, in their passport sizes, and this thing is not done in the public spaces. Billboards are not taken over, showing the pictures of those who have escaped, who are set free from the prisons, because they are supposed to be wanted people, citizens of the country.
They should be everywhere.
They should be everywhere, on the big boards, electronic images, TVs, and everywhere. The government
Go
shouldn't
to all the public malls.
Government shouldn't
their
put them
pictures.
everywhere. A big size photographs for people to see. Government shouldn't be miserly as it relates to ensuring containment of security strategy. But that's what they're doing. They're just being miserly with the cost of ensuring that people get to know what they need to know. If those faces are seen in our eyes and our places, we'll be able to know, oh, this person looks familiar to that person, and give numbers, either anonymous window or real time, for people to be able to engage the people. I saw XYZ person in this environment, and have a place to see this in. What are we doing with our data mining strategy to ensure that everybody is properly captured and we know who they are, where they're from, and where they live, or who they are related to? If we're not doing that, then it will be difficult to actually have a proper security containment strategy put in place. I, for one, we always say that our biggest problem in this country is absence of accurate data as a nation. That's our biggest problem. And that is why we cannot even plan in terms of what infrastructure to bring per time. That's why FCT, for instance, cannot even tell us how many we are in this city, how to expand the infrastructure, how to create opportunities for people that are coming in. Then that's why you see, mass rural urban migration, because people are not getting what they're supposed to get because government is not providing what they truly need. And it's very easy to actually mine data. Very easy from a local government with even a 3310 phone, in quote, a phone that's just doing only text messages. Once there's a birth, once there's a death, you just ask people to just send a message to a server that is collated at the end of the day to get to know what is happening within an environment. It's a simple thing we can do.
Data collection is very important.
It's very important.
Any nation to grow. It's important. I hear that
we have a country that would have
awareness as well.
we said we are about 200. We are about.
We are. But you can't.
For many
there's
years
no
we are
country
about.
that says we are. All of them say we are about.
No,
because it really counts.
ours is unbelievable.
It's okay.
It's really unbelievable.
Some people are writing in. I think I'll be taking this messages after the break. But there's this particular one I must respond to. He said, Madam Elizabeth, you should know that people will not come to the office because you will not offer them food.
Intention determine platforms.
All right, so okay, now I know that is for food. All right, let's take this break. When we come back, I read more of the messages.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
I am Elizabeth Amai. I am here to talk about facts. There is so much misinformation and distortion out there, especially on the social media. All it takes is just a click and the fake news goes viral. However, here in NTA, we deal with facts.
My job is to go out there and comb for factual news and information, just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Najaa Tutijani.
Here on the NTA will present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NTA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nnamdi Oshiko.
right, the show is conversation, and we're still looking at personal security. And this person didn't write his name again, but he says, is self-defense important in Nigeria? Self-defense, I don't know. Are you going to ask people to carry gun or carry
It's
not necessarily guns.
like learn to defend yourself. You could learn karate.
The way you're doing is
The way
like
she
you're
did
this is serious, Diddy. It's like you're really.
No joking. Oh,
Just see how the clapping is.
Honestly,
That's a good one.
okay. So you're already practicing.
yeah. So you
it's
never can tell.
important.
Anything can happen.
You know, your personal security is also part of your sole responsibility. In as much as government is designed to provide security, but currently there's a failing in that area. So we must all learn to protect ourselves. Whichever way is possible, in as much as you're not infringing on the law, you're not taking a person's right, is admissible. I was asked some time ago when I talked about personal security, I said, do I expect you to carry guns? No, the law does not allow you to carry guns except you have a license for it. So if you have a gun and you use it where you're not supposed to use it, you'll be arrested, and it's actually sometimes life or death just by carrying firearms, so we should understand that. But whichever way that is possible to protect yourself, please do, because when we wait, see, the day I was stabbed, if I had something with me, if it was when I was carrying my weapon, I would have shot those guys. I wouldn't even look back. If I had a knife or something, because I actually fought one of them to a standstill, that's what actually saved my life to some point, because the way it was going. So if we know what to do, and we can defend ourselves, not necessarily going to attack someone, but defend ourselves. Two, we can also prevent for things of such to happen. If I had listened to my spirit not to drive to that place that very night that I drove through, if I had actually
had the intuition.
Intuition was there for me not to. I had this, it was so strong. Stubborn. I even told my staff who was with me to start leaving that night before these boys come and attack us. I said so. 10 minutes after the boys came, I told him to start living, and it happened. So we can learn to begin to present and protect ourselves by prevention. How? Know where you're going to, when you're supposed to go to those places, and leave information behind. It helps in terms of pattern tracing, to be able to unravel if things have gone wrong. It helps. It also helps to keep you from trouble. Why do you have to drive through the city of Abuja now knowing that people who pretend to be hawkers are no longer hawkers? Let me tell you what they do on the streets. Those you think that are hawkers are not necessarily hawkers, not all of them. Some of them are actually spotters. They look into your vehicle, they see what you have, they give signal to the person in front. So at the next stop, they rob you off of your valuable. And you wonder, how did they get to know? Someone has already seen it, and he has given the signal ahead of time. We need to understand that. We need to avoid places we should not go to. Now, if there's a plus side of this 7 p.m. Stoppage of meeting because immediately after the FCT implemented that policy, jailbreak happened. Imagine if the gardens are open and these people will find them in the gardens and the robbing people, mass robbing will take place. That's not an excuse though. The government should have been able to provide enabling ground for people to truly unwind, because those places really help people's mental health. That's why a lot of people go there to unwind, to remove the stress. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress in this country. We can't afford to avoid people that want to eat fish and pepper soup or doing that. So there's a lot of mental, social engagement helps your mental health. Researchers have proven.
You can go to gym.
No,
you can go to gym.
How many persons do you talk to? When you get to relate to people that you like or people that give you quality conversation. Let me say this. Even said, Coach, did you know this? That when you have quality conversation with someone, it looks like having orgasm, because it pumps the same oxytocin in the brain that you have with endorphins. It's there. It's an open research.
I'm not going to get to that. To that your mental health,
and that's your security, because your mental health is also your security.
Okay, so another he says, I'm enjoying this conversation, Kevin, and the rest of it. God bless you. Thank you. Now going back to what you talked about, the earlier question, the person said, I think that women, our girls, because we're considered physically
weak,
not very strong. I don't want to use the weaker sex because we're stronger than men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
built.
are not that strong, physically speaking. There are things like pepper spray. I don't know. I always carry my own. There are also the mini tear gases you can use to, demobilize people. Especially when they are not carrying things like gun. If it's knife, you can, demobilize the people at a time and then run for help. I actually had experience where I was taking a jog and I was attacked.
Wow.
So one of the times I didn't have such a thing, but fortunately the next time I had to use my pepper spray and the tear gas at the same time. So the two guys were on the floor and I ran to a police station.
Wow.
So it does help. So sometimes self-defense, if you handle it well, you must.
I really haven't. I've never really seen a pepper spray. I've seen it in movies.
You can make your own pepper spray. I tell you how to do it.
Okay.
Get chili pepper. Grind it very. If it's even possible, get Cameroon pepper. It's so harsh when it touches your skin. Mix the dry one and the wet one. Grind them like real
Make sure you
good.
cover your nose before.
Pour it. Yeah, you need to wear a face mask. So you pour it into mentholated spirit. That's the alcohol, and put it in a spray can.
Preservation and
So yes,
stress.
so you put it in a small canister and carry it around in your handbag, in your purse.
I think
So when you don't need
tell our
to,
kids to do that.
yes,
as
you
well.
don't need to really go buy one. So you can some of
But
them.
there are
There's some
phones
that are on key holders.
There are phones that are
That's
like
small.
stun
They're really
guns.
that small.
Yeah.
There are phones that are like stun guns, small, petite stun guns. You can actually do that. There are also devices as small that can also help you get in that. Now that you mentioned the
But
jogging thing,
even some phones like this one, you see, it's like an S Pen, but it also has a protective device inside, so you can still use it. So this thing is the whole idea is to read up more because society is getting really bad. My parents used to say when the bird learns to fly without perching, the hunter learns to shoot without missing.
I
So we
think
must.
we invited that when the hunters start shooting without missing, the birds have to learn how to fly without perching.
So whatever it is, we have to build up to ensure that we defend our environment. But the best of first defense, self-defense, that I think, is to ensure that you do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Don't be caught doing something probably even good, but at the wrong time or right environment. Try to create things around yourself. Find time to build yourself. That's my own thoughts. If you find time in reading, if you find time in doing one creative act or the other, you find out that you may not have time to go outside. Like you said, when I close from work, if I don't have anything to do, if I'm really that bored, I don't know how I can be bored.
You are an introvert. You cannot use your personality to be.
No, it's not a question of being
those that are extrovert.
I do creative things. I am not an introvert. I do create. It's society that pushed me to
You're
where
not
I
the
am.
best. You're not the
I don't want to get hot, so I sit in the house and I do creative things. And at the end of the day, I enjoy the products. Sometimes they even make money.
Space by yourself.
They actually make money.
You
actually.
enjoy your space by yourself.
You see, the thing is, I would still go back to kids, maybe because I have teenage kids. We have to be intentional about personal security, especially with our friends and family. And it comes from us telling them to be conscious. You see, you said something about being prepared and things like that. How prepared are you? You know where you're going. You tell someone where you're going. You know your route. You have a plan. And then, of course, we should also let the kids know that you see, there's a thing, and I'm guilty as well. We are so engrossed with our phones. You're taking a walk, you have an earpiece in your ear.
I don't
One of the
understand
first things for you to know, sense danger, is your ears. But you wouldn't sense the danger because you have an earpiece.
Even
You're
accident,
in the Uber, you're in the Uber.
Why you don't even
you
need
have
it.
a
And
phone.
the earpiece they are making now, they say is a ANC. That's noise cancellation.
So you don't
Absolute
even hear
noise
what's going
cancellation.
around
So
you.
you don't get to exist in that environment.
But that's why
anymore.
you have the suction earpiece that you can actually put that.
Kevin, I don't think
vigilant.
earpiece as
No,
the rule.
vigilance, yes, I agree with you. Vigilance is key, but we cannot also begin to tell people not to do certain things. What we need to do, moderation is key. You can actually have an earpiece and still hear the noise from outside. The essence of having an earpiece, you're taking a walk or doing jogging, is to be able to energize your internal being to do better than you're actually be doing. Because the road can be lonely. The road can be lonely if you don't have that running with you. Sometimes what I do, I listen to messages, I listen to books, I do music. If I need to dance on the road at a certain time, I go to the music point and do
It's still the best.
Now,
there are stadiums.
we have different places.
Different places
Yes,
you can
for
go
the
to
times-
save.
Yeah,
you must
go to a
use that.
safe-
for the times that we're in now, we need to go to safe zones to do those things. I agree with you. I've seen a lot of people coming out very early in the morning to go do their workouts. Now we are in the times where there's very, especially in the sense that we need to be careful how we go out for these workouts in the mornings. If we're going in group, we must have some form of protective mechanism put in place or an emergency access in place, because these people can see you. A military officer once was stabbed on around Lugbe Road. He was going for a workout. So we have these things. These things will happen. When a criminal or an incident comes to you, the first thing it does is to disorient you. And that was why I was stabbed first. I was actually cooperating when I was stabbed. I was removing my wristwatch for them, and I just got the stab on my back from another person. Never expected. There was no fight. So they want to disorient you, make you begin to look that your fear comes in and you begin to take over your mental state of being. So we should be careful. Then I think the security agencies in the nation must start citizenship engagements with the people. Go to schools, churches, mosques, and give them security tips on how to manage themselves, and also open up communication mechanism for information to be given to you, a pool of information to come. I saw this person, I saw this one, I saw something moving this way, we need to do. Then personally at home, let us begin to lit up our environment. I used to go on a late night walk in my neighborhood. When the jailbreak happened, I was going on late and it just hit me. I said, wait a minute, this place is so dark. What if anything happens to me? So I took a turn back home. I started doing internal aerobics. Now, but yesterday,
I don't do the kind of internal aerobics I tried to do the other day. I didn't know there was a ram, in the compound. I was running. The ram actually got scared. I was running, probably for his own safety. Me, I saw the ram. I got scared. So I was running this direction. The ram was running this direction. The security man had to come and help us out.
So anyway, we need to be lit up.
Yes, we need to light up the place. Let's quickly play justice to our viewers. Thank you, and Kevin and Memuna. My worries are, for how long do we continue to live in security, knowing that some levels of compromise. He didn't put your name. He says brave discussion. Thank you. We'll try to take as many before we begin to reply them. And another one says here, okay, the conversation is so interesting. You didn't tell us your name. I'm enjoying the conversation. Keep it up, you can. And hello and good morning to you all. Baraka Risala to Memuna. That's for you. Me too. I'll take it. I really enjoyed the conversation. It's very important for our personal and family security. Now, the security is everyone's business, especially the younger generation. It's equally important to know who is our neighbors. Very important. Who are children's friends and many other things. We should also teach our children to be security vigilant wherever they find themselves. You didn't write your name, but we appreciate your contribution. We'll go ahead and continue taking as much as we are. Good morning to you guys in the studio. Really enjoying this conversation program. In terms of self-defense, what about in a situation of a Christian who has the heart of humanity? How will such a person go about such encounter?
Give them that cheek.
Okay. You say when they slap you one side, turn one side. Okay.
The whole idea is simply that you don't put yourself in a position where you'll be slapped in the first place.
This person says,
that's what that meant.
Please, where can I get pepper spray and the tear gas to buy?
Mix this.
Okay, I just told you what to mix. If you don't know where to buy it, get your chili pepper, get your Cameroon pepper, get or any kind of pepper you have, or all of it. Mix it, grind it. I said grind it very well. If you want to put a bit of salt, then cover your nose while you do it too. Then put it inside the mentholated spirit. You know that spirit they used to clean wound or clean babies. It's very cheap. I think they sell it for less than 500 naira.
Yeah.
You pour it inside it, put it in any spray can, and you're good. The smaller the can, the better. So that way you can fit it to your very small purses. All right, and let's see what else we can. So many conversations coming up here. He said, good job, guys. I'm really enjoying this. Keep it up. We'll try to do that. Let's see if we can take just one more before I go away. So the security in the nation now is very serious. I was driving around Gudu district inside Abuja last Friday at 7 p.m. and right in front of me at a traffic light, a guy distracted the driver by talking to him in a jeep, and two other guys were robbing him on the other side with his phone, laptop, and the vehicle is okay. He said his name is Ade. It's just what you mentioned. Sometimes you're buying things from another person, the other side,
it's deliberate.
The distraction.
Wow.
What I think people should learn is there are some cars, once you get in, start the engine and move, automatically it locks.
Yeah.
And for me, it tells me that that's how we should drive. Once you're driving, please lock your vehicle. And if you're in a traffic, probably there's no AC, you want to, save fuel
Halfway.
situation, make it halfway where somebody will not come in full time.
Absolutely.
I don't know what will make me stop on the road to shop when there are so many markets, and I get the benefit of walking around to exercise my feet. I get the benefit of pricing. I get the benefit of having contact address to return if it's not good enough. So I think people should stop buying from hawkers.
You see,
Anyway,
there's something
buy
we need to
from-
know,
we buy on
right?
the street,
I used to give this
we
analogy.
actually do.
The moment you put sugar on the table, ants will gather it. If the opportunity is not there, people will not patronize. And sometimes situationally you find yourself for things you want to go, but you don't have the time.
Yeah,
I want to
honestly,
just
I
pick
shop
it up,
on the street, so-
and move on. So situationally that happens.
Sometimes it happens.
Let's reduce how we expose the sugar that brings the harms that causes insecurity in our lives. And it starts from the place of government. Recruitment processes must be done based on merit, and they must be given adequate welfare and remuneration.
Okay.
It is sad that a security officer earns far less than the legislator. Wrong. It's an abnormality.
All right,
We
so
must
your
change
final
that.
words.
My final word is on personal security. It's all about being intentional and being deliberate. And your personal security is not just about you. It's about your family and those around you. You want to be secure, make people around you also feel secure and happy. I think it
Yes, it's important. And when you are shopping on the road, please, my fellow ladies, I know we have
Amen.
money and we have wallets.
admin.
Amen. We have wallets that is loaded. If you need to buy something for 2,000, keep the 2,000 naira handy, or even 3,000 naira, just in case. It's not when you're there, you're pulling money from your wallet and the person that is you're buying from, is seeing those bundles of naira,
start to
dollar,
get
and
wild too.
everything, and the person doesn't have it, and the person is hungry. Anything can happen.
Sugar and
Like
hands.
they said, it's intentional, it's deliberate. Let's keep safe. I'll see you again next week.